So before I rub it in the faces of these inferior forms of life, I want you all to ask yourselves a question. Could it be that thinking faster is a superior evolutionary trait? Could it be that being taller and maintaining your coordination, as we see African Americans disproportionately do, be a superior evolutionary trait? Could it be that people who talk faster or move faster think faster in order to do so, and do so effectively, and that is a superior evolutionary trait? Now, my argument isn't that just because someone is taller that they deserve to live and that we should screen out the shorter people. My argument has always been eugenics is wrong, and the eugenicists are hypocrites who think that naturally they will be screened out, ironically, because of a perceived lack of human compassion, which they are feeding into, ironically, and that they must set up a system that allows them not only to survive, but to run the show in order to survive. Rather unfortunate that this is what it's come to. You see, even though by their own scale I am superior, mind, body, and soul, I have done what they couldn't dream of doing in a very selfless, respectable manner. I do not believe in taking advantage of vulnerable individuals. I believe that part of civilization is giving everybody a chance to express that good part of themselves and to contribute. It is true we no longer live in a sort of caveman, hunter-gatherer society, a lawless, kind of savage society, which is good for the earth in that society, but bad for people's comfort and sensibilities. However, there needs to be a careful process of placing people where they deserve to be. Not in the communist sense where the government does it, but a natural system that naturally allows people to gravitate toward what they're good at. You know, trying this, trying arts, trying their hands at different sciences and different hobbies and so on. In the following clip, I am going to be very harsh because people want to get people to look up to certain traits, such as scientific success, if you will, and being a kind of a sniveling computer geek and, you know, different forms of being a geek. They've created this sapiosexual culture where people are gravitating toward the idea of creating a artificial meritocracy or technocracy. This is despicable. You see, if I was in charge, all these people who are so insecure with their little complexes, all these narcissistic megalomaniacs would be taught how to be a human being again and how to contribute in a positive way. They believe the earth revolves around them and their network of several million people. Well, I have news for you Masons and all you ninny secret society cowards. There are billions of people on this planet, and we do not approve of your secret eugenic agenda trying to take all the wealth and give it to the top and secretly give it to everyone who helps you out to a certain extent to elevate their status among their peers and in their respective communities. What you're doing is disgraceful. Your mothers should slap you. Your fathers should disown you. Your children should move out at the earliest possible time. You people are disgraceful. And that is why I am going to put it the way that I will in the next clip. That is why I am putting you in your fucking places and restoring the mayat in the minds, hearts, and souls of the most insightful observers, especially the ones who will find their way to my video, but certainly to those who will hear the arguments of those who have found their way to my videos. The dark web and different underground networks will distribute my videos, you have lost. You just can't see it yet because you're so full of yourselves. You fucking cowards. Several scientific publications have proven my point. The first one is from University of Edinburgh, July 2015, a little over a year ago, a year and 2 months or so. Now, my specific argument has always been the same, that blacks have superior evolutionary traits, and that other races have to cheat and change the rules in their favor to compete with them. Just like the shorter races and peoples are trying to change the rules of martial arts to make it entertainment and make it so inferior warriors seem superior. Now, I'm not racist, but I warned you, shorter people. I say, you keep doing this, you keep denying me my rightful place and saying stupid shit like it's because you're tall, I'm going to have to tell the truth in a way that you're not going to like. Now, every group of people has grown to be smarter and faster than their predecessor. Faster thinkers, rather. But this also translates to faster fighters. Bear with me now. If you move faster than you can think, you cannot fight effectively. I say it again. If someone were to move faster than they can think, they could not fight effectively. Now, what caused this evolution? What was nature doing when nature was selecting? Was nature not only selecting superior warriors, but superior men in general? They not only became taller, but they became faster thinkers. This is key now. We all have a certain time on this earth and then we die. So it helps not to come to conclusions slowly, but rather quickly. So one's ability to achieve higher mental prowess is almost absolutely contingent on their ability to think quickly. And when you consider how the mind, body, and soul are connected, the evidence from the Europeans themselves proves definitively that Africans from Neckin and Egypt took all the most valuable land in Africa, the original place, from the other races and their predecessors or the inferior stock from their own races, because they evolved to be faster thinkers and taller. And this is natural warfare. Remember, the first example of martial arts was in Beni Hassan. Now, remember, I have been rather chivalrous with these people. I have been rather patient with these people. They have persecuted me, shunned me, blacklisted me, done eugenics on me, drugged me, costing me my eyesight, doing all kinds of things out of desperation. I have over 11 witnesses now, and interviews with dozens of intellectual and intelligent individuals, many of whom with degrees, that see it my way. Interviews with an army medic, with doctors, psychologists, people in school for psychology. Interviews with the most relevant people, or the most relevant types of people, rather. I have been very generous and very patient. They have done nothing but cheat and try to do what the inferior forms of life do. Now, look at America. Blacks are only 12 to 13% of America. Why are they disproportionately basketball players? Because of their ability to be taller and to think faster. A tall, uncoordinated Ichabod Crane type isn't just that way because, they're uncoordinated or something. It's because they're thinking slow. They don't have that powerful intellectual prowess. They don't have that intellectual acuity. They don't have that brain power. And as a result, they're like, dum, dee, dum, dee, dum, dee, da, 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 instead of... That's why they were expelled. They thought slower, and in many cases, they weren't tall enough. They got the short stick, so to speak, in more than one way. But that's not what this video is about. And that goes for every non-black race. And this is what Hitler would never admit. That his own scale proves black Africans and Necanites superior. On the original land, every place that wasn't a hopeless, depressing desert was occupied by black Africans. Not Johnny-come-lately Indo-Europeans stuck in the sand, black Africans. Do I really have to explain to you why that is, or are you starting to get why they drug me, trying to slow down my mental processes and cognition? Are you starting to get why they cannot beat me? Are you starting to get why they hide? Because of the master race. I am the bell that rings the motherfucking loudest. Spaghetti! I warned you people. You didn't listen. Try to keep up. The reason why they're pencil dick cowards is because they don't have the intellectual acuity, the mental prowess, the mental excellence, the brain power to see that you should be uncontrolled and go against the Babylonian scum. Did I speak slow enough for you, motherfuckers? There is no such thing as true superiority with an artificial scale. The only true superiority, you esoteric Hubert motherfuckers, is the original superiority, you esoteric Eberts. And that is the natural superiority. What does superiority originally mean? What is natural selection? What is Darwinism? It's not artificial selection. It is natural selection. It is not ability to conform and cheat. It is natural ability. So there is nothing more backwards than people who call themselves eugenicists when they are inferior using their own scale and they must cheat to make up for the wide margin of difference and error. You erroneous, sniveling, farcical dogs. Look at you now. Oh, you're not feeling so cocky right now, are you? You're not feeling in charge right now, are you? You're not feeling superior, are you? You sniveling cowards. Who kicked who out? Was it you? Who rose to be the great spaghetti drugged, fumed, and sabotaged? Was it you? Who was Heru that made them hide. Horus the Conqueror. Was it you? No, it wasn't. It was Chukwu Emeka, the immortal leopard. Not lesser and not leper. Sagiti, 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 Sagiti. The great elephant motherfuckers. Strategy, speed, and physical contact motherfuckers. Taller and faster thinker motherfuckers. This also proves that the people you accuse of being bipolar almost certainly have an evolutionary quality that has allowed people to evolve to be superior over time. Because if they are talking faster, if someone is punching faster, especially when they have a taller body that's harder to move quicker with, almost certainly they think faster, which is on record a superior evolutionary trait. You are the sniveling cowards with the biological dysfunction. And I am superior, as I have said all along, because I am superior. Now sit down and shut the fuck up and be led by the wisest and the best. And I am the wisest and the best. You cheating scum. To make it harder for them to identify my videos when you re-upload them, I will stop using pictures of my face. Recently, I've proven that eugenicists are still around, and I've gave a superior argument as to why the main targets of eugenics should be the biggest criminals around. The pharmaceutical oligarchs, the mental health oligarchs, the secret societies, the bankers, the main criminals in society. When you read Adam Cohen's book, Imbeciles, the sterilization of Carrie Buck and what have you, it made it clear that that's what gave the eugenicists trouble in the past. This is the argument that they are afraid of. It is the argument that forced them to do what they're doing in secret, and when it is applied correctly, it could force them into disarray, where people are going to feel so much hatred when they finally think about it, and the deeper implications of it, that they might turn on their atheist masters. Today, several things happen. And it really started with yesterday. And perhaps the day before that is where I should start. I think it was about the day before yesterday. There was a female who looked a lot like an FBI agent teacher I've had at University of Phoenix. They like using that kind of similar looking people. Sometimes they set people up to frame them to make me think it's them, but most of the time it's simply them and their family members. She tried to get me to send her $300, and so that she could, drive a truck to my place, and I'd pay her the rest of the money, like the rest of the $900. It was, I believe, a 2000 Ford pickup truck, something of this nature. Seemed like a pretty good deal. Pretty good condition. At 160,000 miles. I was considering it before she said that that's what she wanted to do. I said, the amount she chose, $1,200, is the exact same amount that a northern Hispanic had taken from me, I believe it was last year in July. So there was a lot of parallels you can draw there, and they like doing these sorts of things, just like the book in the Bible, Numbers. There are people obsessed with numbers and numerology, and also association. It's a very pagan, new age, ninny concept. They talk about oneness and the nomad and what have you. Just Google it. There's a lot of conclusions one can draw, but in the least it was showing me that yes, this is related to getting jacked. And then there were several underage women that were put across my path. One of them added me, and I will put the screenshot of her friends list. I'm the only one on her friends list. She added me. The old, Lolita setup. This would set the precedent. If I had fallen for it, which I'm obviously not a pedophile, I'm one of the most outspoken people against pedophiles. If I had fallen for it, it would set the stage for not only the police to come get me, but for gang members to seek retaliation, as she is almost certainly related to Hispanic gang members, Northern Hispanics. And that goes back to the number that they used for the truck. And then today, a Porsche passed me on the road. Almost certainly a Jew was driving it, based on all the Jews I've seen in Porsches before gang stalking me. And all the Jews in nice cars, Lexus trucks and Mercedes, or Lexus SUVs or whatever it was, and Mercedes cars, like a 320 silver, a Jew female. So after he drives by me, I'm thinking, well, what was the purpose of that? Well, that's not out of the ordinary. They've done this quite a bit. Except for this time, later up the road, there was a gay highway patrol officer in a highway patrol SUV or Jeep. Some of these Jeeps and SUVs are very similar. I'm not really big on automobiles, and when I think of Jeep, I think of the old Jeep Cherokees, and that to me is the typical Jeep look. Any variation of a Jeep that looks newer kind of confuses me about whether or not it's an SUV, because I'm not interested in that in the first place. I never bothered to take the time to make that distinction. But either way, he was going the other way on the road. Now, I don't know how the technology is now, but it used to be that if you're driving the other way, you have trouble clocking people's speed. At least I was told that. I don't know. I'm just going to throw that out there. Make a long story short, he flipped the bitch. He caught up to me, and he pulled me over. That's when I realized he's a gay guy. He had that gay look in his eyes, gay walk, the whole nine. He said, I pulled you over because I clocked you going 78 in a 45 zone. Now, I wasn't even going 48. I probably was going about 48, actually. Wasn't going no more than 48, rather. And I said, oh, I didn't realize that. He says, well, how could you not realize that? And I could tell he was being facetious. He was being, he was smirking. He was being a wise ass. But sometimes cops also have that same look when you're doing something wrong. Like, hey, buddy, I caught you doing something wrong. So it helps them get away with it when they're being a wise ass and they know that they're in the wrong. He takes my license, registration, insurance, goes back to his vehicle. And within a few moments, he's back. And he says, I'm not going to give you a ticket today. I feel a little bit of relief because nobody wants to be given, hundreds of dollars, ticket, a few $100 ticket, whatever it would be. Much less, go to traffic school or go to court or, take care of the mail, whatever. And then I leave, and later on is when I see the other Jews on the road as well. Now, when you look at these things, almost certainly recent events have agitated them, because this is out of the ordinary. Now, one thing, though, that recently happened is I sealed my vent a whole lot more, and it's been limiting the amount that they can fume me. Sometimes the tape becomes loose. I haven't taken the time to thoroughly seal it, and since this is not my house, I feel like I can't seal it myself, and that I shouldn't, because I'm basically a guest in this house. I'm, just staying here. It's my parents' house. So what could have set them off could have been my latest video where I show a superior martial art demonstration at the end. But first, it's a very short video. First, I show two eugenicists, the only people in the comments, commenting on a picture on Facebook, arguing for eugenics, which thoroughly demonstrates that eugenics is alive and well, and there are people that are for it. Gang stalkers that are for it. So it definitively connects gang stalking to eugenics. And eugenics, for those of you who don't know, is the idea that some people have a good stock or superior stock, and that you should keep people from practicing dysgenics, which is kind of, people with inferior stock breeding with each other. And eugenics is not just state-sanctioned sterilization. Eugenics is anything you can do to alter the environment in a way that creates, positive reproduction, if you will, in the eyes of the eugenicists. It is absolute hypocrisy. And it goes back to the environmental factors. Eugenics itself proves psychiatry a fraud, because you manipulate the environment to achieve a certain desired outcome. You manipulate the environment to influence human behavior, among other things, and lifespans and fertility, to achieve a certain outcome. And once you draw the correct conclusions from that, you see that absolutely environmental factors are the determinant in human behavior in the vast majority of cases. Because these people spend billions of dollars to manipulate the environment to get you to behave a certain way. We are not born destined to breed with someone, for example. That behavior is impressed upon us by the social engineers who are eugenicists. And one simply needs to consider basic high school biology or even grade school biology to understand the possible outcomes are damn near endless. The possible outcomes are like grains of sand on the beach. So eugenics is a falsehood designed to create a hypergamous society in favor of the biggest criminals and the rich knaves, like that lowly, sniveling dog, that rat, that rodent, that pest that passed me on the road. Some Bill Gates looking pussy trying to get women that he would never naturally have, and being successful at it because of the bad judgment of the females who are partially here as a result of eugenics. They are inferior forms of life, partially created by the inferior policies of the eugenicists. And that is partially why they roll with it. So there's a behavioral factor, there's an environmental factor, and there is a small genetic component, which the eugenicists seek to make bigger. And they drug you, and they do things to make, and this is on record, they do things that make fish hermaphrodites and stuff that affect, life forms and make them less fertile and make them less masculine, if you will. Estrogen mimickers and the like. It's not just what they put in the food, it's the foods that they selected because of those characteristics in their chemistry, such as soy and estrogen mimickers. So eugenics is not just what they have done in history. Eugenics is the idea of using chemicals, manipulating the environment, using sociology, using politics, using economics to create a desired outcome that specifically is targeting the reproductive processes of human beings. These people are scum. And they're really mad right now because I have proven definitively with 11 witnesses that they're doing this, and I've caught them red-handed promoting eugenics, which does more than just kind of suggest that they're eugenicists. It proves almost definitively that these are eugenicist dogs scrambling to cover up their inferior genes.